What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to Addiction is a Scam. I'm Breaking Chains. You can call me BC, and this is the Stigma Lounge. Well, y'all come on in, have a seat. Tell you who our guest is tonight. Joining us tonight, someone that I now consider a friend. This gentleman has essentially been through hell and back on an emotional sense. Seen some things that I wouldn't wish on my worst nightmares. Kind of went about handling it the same way we all do, and that is to just keep a smile on our face by any means necessary. He is a fellow Yinzer. He is a public speaker at various recovery centers. He has been known from time to time to catch a fish or two, or maybe step out in the woods and shoot into a deer. Ladies and gentlemen, please give me a warm for Mr. William Petrosky. What's going on, Bill?
Not much. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Appreciate you stopping by. We've been in the works of this for a little bit now, and I'm glad we could finally link up and get it going. It's crazy how fast time flies. Whew. I feel like I don't know exactly when we started talking, but it was springtime, if not a little bit before spring, and
right.
About to be Thanksgiving here, a couple 2-3 days. It's wild, but we'll jump right into the staple of kind of the way we go about things here. You know that already, and I'll just hit you with it. Do you think addiction is a disease?
I do.
And I can respect that. Would you care to elaborate and tell our viewers and the stubborn ones like myself that refuse to give up on the fact that people make their own choices? Side note, you know this, y'all got me on the fence, but for the sake of my audience, I'm keeping my 10 toes planted. For real though, I go back and forth, but would you please enlighten us a little bit?
I feel that I would be a poster child of it being a choice because I have no addiction in my family. It's just led to a habit for me, but the drug or the alcohol isn't the problem. It's the solution. We drowned ourselves in our feelings, but you become addicted to it just like anything else. And there's people that could go out there and have a drink or two and leave half a beer or half a glass of wine on a table at a restaurant and get up and pay the bill and walk out. And there's people that are looking over their shoulder thinking, what the hell are you doing wasting that money? And I think that's where the disease gets you. Some people just aren't cut out to have a drink. And I'm one of those people. One isn't enough and two is too many. Or one is too many and two isn't enough.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's off to the races. I hear. Actually, had a gentleman tell me he just retired. He was the Votech auto mechanic teacher. Down around where Saratoga Harnett or horse racetrack is. But anyways, he tells me like he's not in recovery. He's never battled with substance abuse, so to speak. But he is straight up with the reason that he doesn't drink is because once he has his second beer, it's off to the races. And I will say this, I consider those people the blessed ones, the ones that were able to recognize that at a young age, and and spearhead it essentially. The ironic part about this is the reason why you feel it is and I feel it isn't is almost like the same exact thing. For because it's like I am with you on that, like it's our solution, it's our coping mechanism, it's our block all the bull out. Um so that is why a big reason why you and others have me on the fence with it, because if you take and you break down the definition and then you apply that ideology that we're speaking about right now to it, you come to the um, conclusion that it is a disease. Um, it's a tough debate. I actually said in my video when I kind of explained what this all was, I said, honestly, I don't know. I don't think it's a disease, but I also don't think it's a choice. And the reason that I don't think it's a choice is because, like, I believe that it does come from there's something going on that creates our escape in substance abuse, whether it's drug, alcohol, whatever it is. So once we realize that there's some sort of, we'll just say trauma for sake of the conversation going on, well, at that point, it's not even fair to say that it's a choice because we're already admitting that common sense, rationale, logic, all that stuff's out the window because there's trauma there. And that goes with anything, head injuries, anything like that. Like once you're compromised. So it's kind of like an upside down approach. And even calling it a choice with also not thinking it's a disease. Um, and since we're talking about traumas, you experienced, one of the worst ones. I will just kind of let you tell us about that day, because you can vividly, obviously, remember the dates and all that stuff when that plane went down in Allegheny County.
Yeah, it was September 8th, 1994. At the time, I was on a special rescue team that ended up getting dismantled, mainly due to politics. But we got called to the crash scene to look for survivors. What happened was the plane was coming from Chicago to Miami, and it got caught in the tailwind of another plane. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think like every plane at Greater Pittsburgh Airport is like 4 minutes apart. And this one got in the jet stream of the plane in front of them, basically fell out of the sky. It wasn't a fiery crash. It wasn't an engine failure or anything like that. It just got knocked out of the sky by a tailwind or flight stream. And whenever the plane went down, it went down nose first, pretty much in the middle of the woods. Um, but whenever the nose of the plane hit the ground, it just imploded. Absolutely no fire. And it imploded to a point where there was like seats from the plane and trees over a mile away. Um, we cut access to get in to look for survivors. Um, of course, everyone was perished. Um, this was going through the night. We backed out. The next morning, we went in. Um, People got assigned to the nose of the plane as a alpha, and people got assigned to the tail of the plane as beta, as to where it kind of laid out. And if you were beta, you were collecting body parts. If you were alpha, you were collecting plane parts. That way, they kept them separate. The plane parts went back to the airport to be put in the hangar so they can reconstruct the plane and do everything that they do. I was on beta side. I was picking up what you could. It basically looked, I mean, I don't want to be graphic about it, but it looked like a meat market. I mean, it was just flesh.
It's real
There,
life, man.
um, um, the biggest recognizable things were family portraits and wallets. They were laying there opened up. Um, there was you could tell it was a business flight. There was Time magazines and different stuff like that all over the place. I do recall seeing feet and shoes. Um, it's just, I mean, if you found a finger or something that was identifiable, you had to go and wait for the FBI to get there to turn it into them, so that way they could identify that part, and the family had something of their loved one that they knew was theirs to bury. We were there between 7 and 9 days. I can't remember the exact day count, but and it was nonstop. But afterwards, the aftermath, everything calms down. We packed up. One thing that was kind of, I don't want to say bittersweet after a tragic thing like that happened, but when we were leaving the crash site and heading back to our not command center, but where we kept all of our equipment, it was in Carnegie, and everybody along the parkway, and we left in like a parade basically, and there was just cars pulled over everywhere, and everybody was out of their cars, and just showing a lot of support. Yeah, doing exactly that, and it was touching. But down the road, USAir offered a lot of um, benefits for people that were there, and that's whenever it hit me the worst, because I seen a lot of people take full disability for the rest of their lives due to PTSD and stuff like that were never on a crash scene. There was just so much things that got taken advantage of at the time, and I sat there and went through it. I never took a dime off anybody. I never missed a day's work. Um, I just started to really pay attention to what was going on around me, and I just couldn't. I was young. I was, basically 20 years old, and it was an eye opener. But it really, really hit home to me.
Yes, and I can imagine so, especially at that age. And you're talking about tragedy. You're talking about very graphic, horrific scenes, like horror movie stuff. Um, and then you're talking about a moment of, at least from what everybody that I hear speak about y'all down there in Pittsburgh, um, very, very supportive of each other, very proud to be, as y'all call each other, Yinzers. I'm still learning
Right
that
on.
one. It's new to me, but y'all find a lot of morale inside of one another, for one another, and that I appreciate. But then there's the bull that comes into it when you kind of see them people game or play the system. And I wasn't there, so I can't speak firsthand to it, but I can speak firsthand to this. I'm the same type of way. Like, um, it's nowhere near comparable, but the reason that I lost the job that I had during coronavirus, I'd been there for over 4 years, was because my daycare opened an hour after my start time. So I started taking pay cuts, because you get tardies, then you get pay cuts. But the thing is if like daycare was one of the things, or if you had someone home that was sick, then you could just kind of take 40-hour pay. You qualified for it because of everything that was going on beginning of coronavirus. Um, but December of 2019, we had just had daycare issues, and had to figure out new daycare, and that company worked with me a lot. So I was like, hell no, I'm not taking I'll just say FMGs, um, essentially FMG welfare, when all my work buddies are there tying rebar and pouring concrete. Like I'm gonna go when I can and work with them. Essentially got fired for, I was taking pay cuts and essentially got fired for not taking the cop out. So I can somewhat relate, not on the level that what you saw,
No, I don't.
but in
Right.
the mindset.
Right.
So that's that alone right there. I feel like if I was a psychiatrist, psychologist, I get them confused. But that right there would be like, okay, that answers my question. Now I understand why you turn to alcohol. But the thing is, that's not really even close to when that all started, or how and why and all of that. Really, is it? Like, because it didn't go
No,
on.
I mean, I wasn't like. It's not like I was still living at home at the time, so
Right.
it's not like I was going to bars after work or coming home with a 30 pack or whatever. It just I had a son. I had my son when I was 22, and when his mother was pregnant, we moved out and got a townhouse. And whenever I started hanging out over there, two doors down from me was a dude that he was a mechanic at a car dealership, and he would do side jobs in his driveway every night. And a couple of the guys that lived around there were like always outside every night, and they always had like a case of beer. They like took turns buying a 30 pack or whatever. So I got to know them and started getting invited to the driveway, and started to be my turn to buy the 30 pack, and then that's whenever it was like habit forming.
Yeah.
I the dopamine was released because I had new friends.
Oh hell
I
yeah.
looked forward. I looked forward to coming home from work and being outside with my new friends.
Yeah.
And the beer was there, and it was just the thing to do. And then I remember before I moved from that townhouse, I remember like looking at my ex now my ex brother-in-law, but he drank a good bit with me, and I was like, I went every day this year with at least having one beer. It was like an accomplishment, and then it just went on from there.
Yeah.
But it never like got completely out of hand until COVID.
Right, because you didn't like, it wasn't, and it never really was detrimental in your life, other than maybe like the wife didn't, or I think you were married. I don't remember that, but well,
Yeah,
girlfriend, wife, the son's mom was maybe she'd get a little irritated. You should be here, not there, type things. But other than that, like, it wasn't, you know, you weren't
yeah.
sacrificing anything.
No,
Like,
when he was a baby and he was awake, I was there. I made sure that
yeah,
everything was taken care of before, and he would be down for a nap or whatever. I was basically, all she had to do was come to the door and say, "Come here." I wasn't like out sitting at a bar or,
right.
you know,
And
ignoring the pager.
yeah, I know. Yeah, so I'm glad you said that, because I think I forgot. If I didn't, thankfully, but I think I forgot to mention that, and obviously they caught up to it in the plane crash events. But always been paramedic, volunteer, EMT, things like that.
Yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah,
always maintaining that, a very close, tight knit family. Very, I remember you told me, you literally worded it. I feel like I hit the parental lottery.
yeah.
Um,
That's pretty much my opening when I deliver my lead, because there was no addiction. There was, I didn't, growing up, I couldn't open my Christmas gifts until my grandparents got to the house. And as they got older, they would spend the night Christmas Eve just to be there in the morning when we woke up. I mean, it was,
it's awesome, man. It's cool. I'm sure it's got its downfalls. Everything in life does, but as some,
yeah, I think, I always had the dream of going to the Air Force, and my mom was like always dead set against it because if I would be away or overseas or something and something would have happened to my grandparents, what? And I'm not going to be there for the holidays, so that got kind of shot down real fast.
Yeah. We've spoke about that in private too, and you've given me the okay to say all that I think that's probably there, only because I recognize some from my own life. But I'll just simply touch on it, and kind of just sounds like a little, sort of like a little empty nesting, that like
Yeah, probably.
that anxiety. My grandfather was the same way. He'd get livid. If my So I have an uncle that's only 5 years older than me. He was only 4 years above me. He'd get livid if my uncle Matt talked about college or anything. You're not going to college. You're going to run the business. Because he had the insulation business and the golf course, and just old school like that. It was
Hmm.
just so I would say that although there is negative consequences of that type of love, I don't think that there's any malicious intent in it.
No,
Um,
no, no, not at all.
so I do think that it does kind of weigh on people though, when they don't get to fully chase something that they want to, and you always wonder in the back of your head like,
Yeah,
would
but at the same time, it could have been worse.
oh, for sure, absolutely, um, absolutely could have been worse. So yeah, then so you're maintaining, everything's good. You two separated, I think. Um, when that went on, a friend had come back to town.
Hmm.
Now we're talking like a decade later, right? We're close to your 30s,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then
I was in my 30s. Yeah,
yeah, and then that's
yeah.
when
I dated here and there, and I lived by myself. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, my son was growing up. It was all split custody, so when I had him, it was all good. He's he was a good kid. He turned out to be a great man. Um, Plays a big part of my recovery. But when he was there as he was growing up, it it was all good. When he wasn't there, the party was on.
yeah,
I lived by myself. I was on the end unit of a townhouses. The neighbor spent 99% of her time in Ohio with her sister. So it was like my music didn't bother anybody, my people didn't bother anybody,
yeah.
and it was game on.
Just having a good old time.
Yeah, but I still went to work the next day.
Right, right, right. That's where I'm going with it. Is still You're still very, very, very functioning, so to speak. There's still no detriment. We're now a decade into this, meaning into the dealing with the plane crash stuff. Um, Obviously, everybody has little things here and there. Nothing's perfect, but nothing like dragging you down. You weren't out
Nope.
drinking and driving, hitting people head on, and anything like that. And then there must have been a point that you realized, like, holy crap, if I don't have a beer, I'm gonna get, like, how'd that go? Did you like start feeling withdrawal symptoms, not know what they were? Were you in the know
Um,
enough to?
I don't want to call them withdrawal symptoms because I started planning the future. If somebody wanted to go to dinner and it was like my parents or my grandparents, well, it would be everybody. I would like in my mind think, please don't pick like Eaton Park or Denny's because they don't have a tap system. Um, hopefully we go here or there so I could grab a beer. I would pregame before we left. But I didn't have a problem. I just wanted to have a beer with dinner, and I hope they pick somewhere I could do that. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Um, so for me, I'll never forget it. I was down in New Jersey. We went to the Sweet 16 college basketball tournament. Saw like Georgetown, USC, I think Villanova might have been there, and whoever else. But this was whenever Patrick Ewing's son was playing for Georgetown, so probably 2012, 2013 ish. And I get back to the about took my hand off there with my pen. So I get back to the hotel and I can't I'm a little restless. Now I had a broken ankle at the time, which that actually was like the best thing because we get to the arena and we go to head up to our nosebleed section and security's like, nope, 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 you on the crutches. No, you're not going up there on those things. That's a liability. So we got these tickets where we're gonna sit, and they put us in like a little press box. So
Nice.
yeah, I always joked. Well, I just gonna wear my ankle boot to every sporting event I go to from now on. So, anyways, I get back to the hotel, and like my legs are kind of feeling funky. I'm going in the bathroom, I'm peeing out my bum hole, and I'm like, what's it? I don't I don't feel good. Like, so I was like, but it wasn't like a flu. It was weird. It was like the symptoms, but it didn't like I knew I wasn't sick. Like, so I went down to the little lobby section thing there, bar, whatever it is, and I think it was a 4-pack, maybe it was a 6-pack, but they were the tiny Heinekens, like I don't know, they're 8 ounces, 12 ounces,
Mhm.
probably 8 ounces. Um, and I drank those, and like it made it like worse. So now it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm dealing with all this stuff, and I'm texting with my friends at home, and one of them says to me, he says, you're dope sick, man." And I remember laughing out loud when he said it, and I was like, "Not a freaking drug addict, dude. I'm not like not dope sick." He's like, "You'll see." Um, so they couldn't wait for me to get back because when I got back, we had to go meet my plug, so to speak, whatever, to get the OxyContin 80s. And he's like, "You'll see. As soon as you do one of those 80s, man, you're gonna be fine." So I was skeptical, but as the night went on, with no sleep, running to the bathroom, like uh, again, broken ankle, and haven't, forget the crutches, like on the toes of one foot, and like because it was a race to get there, and I didn't even ride all the way back home because um, from where home was at the time where I grew up, my mother and my stepfather's house, it was about 40 minutes back towards where we were coming from to get to where I had to go get those things. And the I'm going to pause this here for a second to clear my throat and just edit it out after. And so I said, it got so bad, I texted him. I said, "Dude, just meet me at exit 17. You guys be there. I'll get dropped off there." That's kind of where you get off the highway to head east to our town. And so they did. And then we just drove down to exit 16, met the guy, did my thing. And sure enough, within about 15 minutes of smashing that sucker up, I was my heels were clicking back to myself, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me." I never thought in a million years that I'll be addicted to drugs like this. So I was curious to know about how that went for you. So you just knew then that it would come if you didn't address it. It must have been enough conversation, enough wherewithal, all that we're just gonna get ahead of the curve on this one.
Um, yeah, so that actually happened in 21. Um, COVID, if you don't mind me going back to that,
No, you're
and
good.
in December 7th of 2020. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm way off right there. COVID. So when you were talking about me being divorced, that happened March 3rd of 2020. I basically walked out of what turned out to be an abusive relationship, both physically and mentally. Um, I had more children that were there through it, and it was just a bad environment for them. And I decided one day, one morning, I didn't feel great waking up, and I pretty much spent my days in the game room. We didn't have much of a relationship, and I decided to take a sick day, and I got called every name in the book for taking a day that I had earned. So um, I
Funny.
just said, you know what, screw it, I'm gone. So I left, and I was trying to think of what to do and where to go, and I never wanted to involve my parents in any of this, but I had no. It was like get a hotel or go back home. So I happened to call my parents, and they were on their way. It was March, and they was going up to their camp to check it from not being there most of the winter, just to take a ride. And my mom was like, "Just get what you need and go to the house and get your stuff." She's like, "I'm done with all this back and forth, blah blah blah." So I did that, and
She's talking about the nonsense with the relationship back and forth stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I went to my parents' house and ended up uh, making it a home for the temporarily till I got back on my feet and figured out what I was, everything. During that time, my soon-to-be ex developed breast cancer. She went through a double mastectomy and all kind of different operations. I wanted to be there to help, but her parents were involved in taking care of her, and that's all she wanted. As much as I tried to help, that's what she wanted. So I respected that. Um, so after March comes April and May, and now my parents start going up to their cabin regularly. They pretty much lived up there in the summertime, and they planned on moving up there. So I was basically home by myself, and that's when I started working from home. Um, Answering emails and putting fires out. I worked in a mechanical maintenance field at a wastewater plant, and they didn't want everybody there at once. We employed like 500 people, so they went down to skeleton crews. People that had to be there went out and did their stuff. If they had any mechanical issues on the outside or underground, I walked them through anything that I could to whatever. But then,
Yeah, just for the viewers, quick. When you're talking, because you were EMT and stuff. When you're talking, putting fires out, your proverbial fires out, right? For the
yeah,
company. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it might work, but yeah, it's way more financially better to work in shit water than it is to save people's lives. So I had to career change.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so as I was home by myself and just answering emails or doing Zoom meetings, I was just bored. I was stuck, and I drank. August of 2020, it was August 14th was my son's birthday. It was a Friday. So everybody was up camp, and we had a big birthday party for him that Saturday. That night, we took a big group family photo, and my mom said, "Breakfast is here tomorrow morning for everybody." you know, probably be ready around 9 or 10 o'clock. And I said, well, me and Jordan's going to go out on the boat and go fishing. Jordan's my son. And I know you make enough for an army. So whenever we come back, we'll eat. There'll be enough. So we're out on the boat fishing that morning. Um, it's August 16th. And my phone rang and it was sitting on the dashboard of the boat by the steering wheel. And I looked over and I seen it said Mom. And I looked at my son and I said, there's Grandma calling to tell us to get back for breakfast already. And making a joke about it. And I answered the phone and it was my neighbor. And she said, get here as soon as you can. Your mom's face down on the floor. So we raced back as fast as we could, got to the dock, left all of our fishing stuff on the boat, ran up to the car, and she had a massive heart attack and died.
Sorry to
And
hear
like,
that.
you walk in there and there's like breakfast sausage thawing out in the sink, and she must have got up early to get it out and put it in the sink. And instead of going where my dad was in the bedroom, I guess she didn't want to wake him up moving around. So they had a spare bedroom in the cabin, and she went in there and sat down on the bed, from what I gather, because whenever she fell forward, she hit the door with her shoulder and the door shut, and she fell into the door. And we had to take the door off the hinges to get to her. And
You think she
she was
knew?
gone.
You think she knew she was having an episode or something? Something wasn't
I
right.
think just by the way she was talking the night before and some things my dad said to me, I do.
Yeah.
But we're sitting here facing the loss of my mother that we never expected, and I'm thinking, I live with my dad, and I got to get him through this. Now, prior to that happening, I ended up just needing Wi-Fi for everything I was doing at work. I wasn't actively being called in at all, so I went up there. I had Wi-Fi, so I spent most of the summer up there, but I still drank. Um, After my mom passed away, we all packed up that day and went home. Started making funeral arrangements, started calling family. Just never time to like actually sit and think about what happened because everything was just happening. And I realized my dad never like wrote a check, paid a bill,
Oh man.
knew how much debt that he had. So I'm going through all that with him, and everything just happened so fast. Next thing you know, she's being laid out. We're at the funeral home. Um, Families staying at the house, families here, out of towners are in hotels. They're constantly at our house because who wants to sit in a hotel room?
Right.
We're talking, we're reminiscing, we're going through pictures. And then we had the funeral service. We had a wake in the yard, and our backyard's pretty big. So we had basically the wake there. A buddy of mine owns a barbecue shop in Pittsburgh, and he brought all the food for it. And people ate, they talked a little bit, and as the day went on, the people trickled out, and it all goes away. And then it's just you and him. It's just me and my dad.
Yeah.
And there wasn't nobody coming tomorrow. There wasn't nobody coming the next day. It's just
Yep.
basically life on life's terms now.
Here we go. This is real.
Yeah. And I feel that I took advantage of how naive my dad was of the whole situation because it made me hide more beer.
In the sense you're drinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was so hung up on everything that happened that he was blind to what I was doing, and I took advantage of that. And I went from putting a 30 pack in my backpack just to quietly get it up the steps without the arm of the backpack ripping off to loading it up with, airplanes bottles, and then it started hard liquor. And
I'm not laughing at um, the lengths that you went. I'm laughing at the idea of almost like the stuff we had to do as kids. That's what kind of the way that you were feeling in that scenario, which just, in my opinion, speaks volumes to your character. You need to know that, like the respect that you have for your father, the in the household that you were raised in, the camp, all of it. So definitely don't take that the wrong way. Viewers, don't hear that the wrong way. It speaks volumes to your character that you would not take the mindset of, I'm a grown ass man. I'm here to help you freaking get through this. Shut up and listen to me. So just please know that at least I see that, and I imagine many, many others do too.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it got to be too easy. Like, you become a genius at manipulating at
Yes.
whatever it is you got to do.
It's not
Like,
funny, but yeah. It's like,
yeah, I mean,
oh, got
right.
that.
The
Yeah.
beer distributor had a dumpster, so I could
Yeah.
just dump the cans in the backpack and throw
Yeah.
the case in the dumpster, and that was one thing gone that I had to worry about.
Yeah.
And so moving forward, um, going to that December 7th, 21 date. So my girlfriend, who now my fiance, she wanted to. We were going to Florida, and we were trying to plan to go down there. We have friends that live down there. We keep clothes down there because we have a little airport here in Latrobe that flies a Spirit out of, and
It's a sketchy plane sometimes, but man, they got good prices.
yeah, I know. I've never had an issue, knock on wood, but
Shouldn't have said that.
just
No.
stop. Um, so we could go down just about any time we want, and Spirit was offering one of them crazy deals. And then if you go to the counter, it's Latrobe Airport, and pay for your tickets in person, you get another $40 off. So we're like flying round trip for $26 a person, and
Going
so
down
she went
around Treasure Island, like we talked about. Is that where your friends are? Down, yeah. It's so
there, but they're right outside of Tampa.
yeah. It's so funny
My
because
aunt lives in St. Petersburg, but yeah,
that I was texting him during the hurricane. I think I told you, but he owns the bait and tackle shop in
yeah, yeah,
Missouri Beach, and he's from Pittsburgh originally. Like, so
yeah,
funny, and it's probably, well, it's obviously not your friend, but it's wild that such a small world is where I'm going
right.
with that.
But as far as like shopping centers and stores and everything like that go, we're kind of deprived at where I'm at. There's not much, and what's there is closing. And so we were like, hey, if we go to Latrobe, we could Christmas shop on the way back because there's a bunch of different shopping centers and everything like that we pass. So we left, and I just didn't feel like when you were dope sick, you didn't feel yourself at first.
Yeah,
You knew something was wrong. Now take in consideration the prior weeks. I would wake up sometimes in the morning, and this is when I got bad because I would start making sure I had 3 beers left over in the morning, one to brush my teeth with, and two to have on the way to work.
little hair of
And
the
I'm
dog.
driving.
That
What's that?
little hair of the dog. Just
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and I'm driving a government vehicle because I worked for a government facility,
Is the
and
statute of limitations passed on that yet? Don't be incriminating yourself. Feds are
I don't know.
listening.
I think
Yeah,
I'm good.
not good.
I
Not good
retired,
though. Yeah, no. And this
but
is
yeah.
for entertainment purposes. Not good.
So
Not good choices.
right. So we're so during those times, I was like, I would wake up every once in a while, and I would go to get in the truck, and I would like dry heave a little bit and run over the grass and like think I was gonna vomit, and like sometimes a little bit would come out. And the one time I like turned a flashlight on my phone. I don't know what made me do that, but there was blood, and I'm like, whatever, man. I feel like crap. Oh, down a beer. Okay, I'm good. Go to work. So that probably happened 5 or 6 times in 3 weeks,
So
and
the alcohol would at least stop the blood from
the
being thrown up.
no, it didn't stop the blood. It kind of just settled itself, but it would stop the nauseating feeling.
Okay, okay, I got you. Yep, yep.
So So going back to that day, we go to the airport and we get our tickets and we're going to start shopping our way back. And I'm just like, I feel like shit. I feel like I got hit by a truck. I don't feel good. Um, so we went, I remember the last store we went to was Dick's Sporting Goods. And we came out and I was like, I said, I can't do this. I said, I just want to go home. I don't feel good. And she was like, "You want me to take you to the hospital?" I'm like, "No, just can you drive my truck home? Do you mind driving my truck home?" And she was like, "No, not at all." So she drives my truck, and we're pulling out of Dick's, and I had that dry heave feeling again going on. So I popped my door open and I vomited. And I went to close the door and I looked at the running board and it was covered in blood. And I'm like, man, something ain't right. Like there's something going on, but I'm not gonna say nothing. She works in healthcare at the time. She'll flip out on me. So I'm just going with I don't feel good. So I went home and I laid down, and later that evening, um, I was up and down going to the bathroom, and it was blood coming out of both ends, basically. If I didn't have to do one, I'd do the other, but end result was blood.
Yeah.
So the one time I was in there praying to the porcelain god, and she came in and looked over my shoulder, and it was like purple. And she's like, "You're going to the hospital right now." So we went to the hospital. It's only like 8 minutes from my house. And we walked in the emergency room. She told them what was going on. They basically threw me on a stretcher. They rushed me into emergency surgery. I signed anesthesiologist papers as I was being wheeled into the OR. And I was in surgery for 7 hours. Um, I had esophageal varices, which basically means all the blood vessels in my throat exploded because the lining of my esophagus was deteriorated so bad from alcohol. After the surgery, I was in hospital for 10 days and I had 7 blood transfusions. And the doctor that did the operation came out and said to my girlfriend, had you got him here 10 minutes later, he was dead because he lost so much blood.
And yeah, because if it's not coming out, you're still bleeding from somewhere, so it's just building up inside
And
you.
that's what it was. I was laying in bed and I like, if I would have thought, what I thought was, if I look in the mirror right now, I'm going to look like a chipmunk because it would just, I guess, fill my stomach up and come up to my throat, and the blood just had nowhere to go. And
Yep.
I had like had a mouthful of something I had to get rid of, and I would run to the bathroom and it would be blood, and it would happen continuously.
Yep.
So like since then, I've had like 30 throat scopes, and basically every other one, they're still banding blood vessels.
Now, does the heart struggle at this point too, and like so water retention becomes a thing also, or is
It
it
wasn't. It wasn't really said because I guess the focus was on my final result was
fair?
the
Fair.
doctor coming in and telling me I had to see. He was like, "I'm going to refer you to a liver specialist. You need to see a liver specialist." And I was like, "Okay." Kind of seen this coming,
Right, right.
and he said, "You have end stage liver disease, severe cirrhosis, and the one I didn't see coming was I was stage 3 liver cancer."
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So I
That's when
went and met.
I didn't realize that's when you got hit with that right then and there.
I went and met with a specialist, and she um, got me on the transplant list. I couldn't have a living donor because the tumors are too far spread out. They tried a radiation procedure. It's called a Y90, where they inject beads into your vein and they map your veins out. It was like 4 appointments before it even happened, but they map your veins out right to the tumor. So you were like in and out of the hospital getting all these tests done and all these practice runs of where your veins and arteries go to where the tumors are. And they just kind of blast them with these beads of radiation. And um, they were going to start there. Well, I since started Vivitrol, and it's an opioid blocker.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried to put me under with fentanyl. And I was on the operating table for 9 hours wide awake. They were going through my femoral artery.
Wait, they didn't know you were on the Vivitrol and they hit you
I
with.
told them,
Okay, okay, all right. I was gonna say because that could have been. I experienced that once. That post-acute withdrawal syndrome. Ooh-wee. I don't wish that on
yeah,
nobody.
yeah,
So okay, so you at least avoided that bullet for proverbial. That's good.
right.
Um,
So they, even though I was awake, in order for this to happen, you have to be completely still. And my back hurt so bad on that operating table and not being put to sleep and being awake. My back just burned and burned and burned. And I would try to get comfortable, just like minutely move just to try to get some kind of ease out of it. And the doctor was like, to a point of getting nasty, like, you need to sit still and like yelling at him, like putting his forearm on my chest. And I'm like, I can't. I was like, my back hurts so bad. But it's 9 hours now.
right.
It's 9 hours. And every time they would try to do the beads, my veins would collapse and not let them through. So they canceled it. It didn't work. I went back and they tried it through my wrist, um, where I didn't have to be put under, and my veins collapsed. It didn't work. So I went through evasive radiation, which was I mean, this drug out so long, um, that I had to go get fitted for a body cast. Um, Once the body cast was made, it formed like my the back of my body, and then they had to do a practice run with that to make sure that it would fit, and then show me the radiation and what they were going to do and how I had to do it. And they did a practice run with the fit test and everything like that. Then I had to come back and do a practice radiation because you have to exhale to a certain degree while the radiation is being delivered. So the practice run was, we're going to measure your breaths when you exhale. So I did it like 3 times over 30 minutes, and I would average out a number 19, whatever that meant to them. But what it meant to me was, when I come back to get radiation, I had to exhale to a 19 in order for the radiation to be delivered. And you had to do it through a breathing tube with your nose pinched off. And it was just the most uncomfortable thing in the world. I did it every day for 4 weeks. Um, it's kept the tumors at bay. They're active. They haven't grown much. So right now I'm at the point on the list where they want this transplant to happen soon, because if my tumors wake up and they grow, they won't be able to do the transplant. And that's pretty much an end game. So I got called the day after Election Day, November 6th. I got called. There was a donor on life support, perfect match. Um, I went in, they assigned me to my room. I gave them 21 vials of blood. They did a chest x-ray. They did a CT. They did EKG, or not a CT. They did an ultrasound. All the IVs were hooked up. I was surgically scrubbed and about to go to the operating room. We were there 8 hours, and the surgeon came in and said it's been canceled. The donor was on life support too long, and they, even if he would pass away right now, they wouldn't be able to harvest his organs. So I can't be mad. The guy was still alive at the time. It was just a long,
Yeah.
emotional day. I mean, you're thinking of both ends. You're thinking of both families. We're there for 8 hours. We're ready to go. They showed, they drew where they were going to cut me. They, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, no, that's a tough one because, like you said, there's two families involved. But we're human. It's only human nature to, it's almost like the ultimate gaslight. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like we're there. I made it. The day is here. The day has come. Obviously, there was a reason that we're gonna have to start that over here. Let me fix this. Write the time down. Obviously, there was a reason that it didn't happen that day, but yeah, that's a tough one. It's only human nature to be disappointed and
I
bummed
mean, it
out.
was, yeah, there was disappointment. There was hope for the family. There was, um, emotionally, I felt horrible for my fiance who was there, and she was like a basket case the whole day. My dad was sitting at home. He was texting back and forth with my fiance, just trying to find out, what was going on, what's next. They had the time set, that I was going to be wheeled into the OR and everything like that. And everybody was, sitting on the edge of their seat. And I'm sure his family was sitting on the edge of their seat too, wondering
Yeah,
what, when they're going to hear that noise that they don't want to hear. And it was out. So yeah, I did talk to my radiologist afterwards, about a week after, and he did explain. That's where I got the information about the tumors. He explained to me that they want to get it done soon. He told me, ideally, his words were after the holidays, and you have all of winter to recover. He said, but please don't call and request that because you might get a phone call tomorrow.
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
but he said like they want to do it. They want to find the match and they want to get it done because if my tumors wake up overnight and start growing and they get to a point, it's going to be a point of no return. They can't do the transplant if my tumors start active.
Yeah, it's sad. It's tough.
Like,
I remember that day too because we
mhm.
had text, and I was pumped for you, and then yeah, I had to just to read that text. Like even right now, can't imagine, especially that day. And then another guest of the show, she's about my age, same deal, dealing with like the same thing, just down in Tennessee, and she was going in not for the same thing, but to get closer to that point. And I said, and a buddy of mine went in today. He finally blah 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 blah. Probably damn jinxed you, but I said so. I hope you both share the same luck, and you both got horrible news that day.
Yeah.
It's but in hindsight, it's part of the reason that you're here and you're doing this and you're trying to help others because you do want to spread the word and you do want to show like this is what can and ultimately will happen
Yeah.
if you don't.
I was told that day, whenever you get called for a transplant, you have a 1 in 4 chance of actually receiving it.
So it is 25%, huh? Like,
Yeah.
huh? That's interesting.
Yeah. But it was a learning curve as well because now we know what to expect.
Yep, that's definitely a fair, positive perspective on it. Um, yeah, because you're right, because that's the first time you'd actually really been through it. Probably had
Mhm.
things come up that you never even thought to ask prior to.
Because it sounds like so far off from 21 now it's going to be 25 that I've been on the transplant list, but there was a time where I got kicked off the transplant list. And that was my wake up call. And um, I knew I had to do something because I went to outpatient therapy and found out you could Zoom it because people didn't have childcare or they didn't have a ride because their license might have been suspended or something like that.
Yeah,
So they had the option to Zoom. So whenever I would Zoom outpatient therapy for my alcoholism, I would do it with a fifth of Fireball that nobody could see.
yeah. You were like, tell the family, all right, I'm headed for group.
Yeah, and I would go to like Lowe's parking lot, Zoom it from my phone and sit there and,
Yep.
pour liquor in my coffee cup or whatever. And then finally, the therapist kind of knew something was up and asked me to come in. And she asked me to, she asked me if I was getting all the help that I thought I needed. And she's a great therapist. I call her a little firecracker. She's like 4'7", and she'll kick anybody's ass I could think of.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, she's
That's
she's
awesome. Let's
great.
give her
Um,
a.
She called me and she said, I think you need more than outpatient. What do you think? And I said, you're probably right. You're the professional. You're probably right. And I said, she said, what do you think you should do? I said, I guess I got to walk. I guess I got to do the walk of shame next door. And she said, I think it would benefit you greatly. She was like, because I was the one saying, I'm not going to do inpatient. The world's going to stop. My dad's home by himself. He can't be alone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had every
All of it.
excuse under the.
Yep. All of it.
I mean, my dad's a grown ass man. He could survive 30 days. Plus, my fiance stayed here with him.
Yes.
Um, um, so I said to her, just let me make a phone call. Can I go out to my truck and make a phone call? And she said, sure. I could have left that phone in the room. It never came out of my pocket. I went out to my truck and I
Yeah.
drank everything that was left in it.
Not funny. Just in
Yeah.
hindsight, I'm laughing
And,
at our behaviors,
mhm.
because it's.
And I think at that point, it wasn't even about like, I'm going to drink everything in this truck because this might be the last time I ever drink. I think it was liquid courage to get it up to walk into an inpatient facility by myself.
Oh, I'm sure. Like, I'm sure. Well, there's like a lot going on there. There's that. There's the um. Holy shit! Did I just commit to what I that so there's the subconscious that's like proud of yourself, so there's some celebratoriness going on there too, that like, all right, finally gonna spearhead this thing, can't keep doing what we're doing, way too
Mhm.
intelligent of a person, way too much going, too many people care about me, all the things. And then of course, yeah, there's the this might be it, so we're going YOLO
Yeah.
this one. But
And
oh, go ahead.
I did 31. No, I did 31 days there. I have a great relationship with my liver doctor. She's unbelievable. It How personable she is with me. When I was called in for the transplant a couple weeks ago, I found out she was on vacation, and whenever I was sitting in a hospital room, she called me from another country to say, "Congratulations, I heard the news. I hope everything goes well. Keep in mind, this might not happen. It's part of the process, but I just wanted to let you know I was thinking about you."
That's awesome.
And yeah, so whenever I got out of the inpatient program and continued, I went to PHP and IOP, um, outpatient, and started my nonprofit, which I guess we'll get into.
Yeah.
And
Routes for
my
recovery. Yep.
rods for recovery. My doctor reintroduced me to the transplant team, and I got back on the list, and that's why I got called the other day.
Yeah, the getting back on the list was awesome too.
Yeah,
We don't have to get into it all if you don't want to. I just want to touch on one thing because I love it when we as people do this to others because I can't stand individuals. Actually, we had a conversation last night or the night before about some individuals being this type of way. I can't stand individuals that like they think they're smarter or better or they're just they see like they whatever it's like their way or no way and like somebody was telling you, actually telling a judge, like this dirtbag ain't da 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 da, and then you get put back on that list, and it's like Stone right there, but turned around, you know, and so that is applauded, when you beat
yeah,
those odds,
yeah.
and
It was a huge win, and yeah, whenever you get into that, yeah, my ex-wife's attorney, when I was inpatient, I did a um, over the phone hearing with divorce proceedings, and my attorney brought up that I was on the transplant list and so on and so forth, and her attorney said they're not going to just give him a liver to abuse again or to destroy. Those were her words.
so I get a text message Thanksgiving. I'm fortunate enough to be blessed to have a few people that reach out, and I reached out to a few others myself to say Happy Thanksgiving. And just real quick, want to remind everybody, especially Christmas coming up, just remember not everyone has friends, family, all that around those times. So let's just please be nice to everyone. Please love everyone. And for those of you who maybe don't have somebody out there, please don't hesitate to get a hold of me or maybe even someone like this. What's up, dude?
Oh, buddy.
I can't believe that. Oh,
What a
like
change of it, huh?
for sure, for sure. I mean, you like we had talked about it, and you were kind of like you were ready. You would have filmed it. We waited a little bit longer because I could kind of tell you were, you know, you're still kind of in the funk a little bit. I guess you could call it.
Yeah,
And and then you went fishing and stuff, and came back from that better spirits, um
yeah.
going into Thanksgiving with a nice positive mindset. I'm sure you're still worried in the back of your head though. And then what happened? 6 o'clock that night, and
I mean, like, didn't think about it much, but didn't leave the phone lay around either. Cat in my pocket.
yeah,
But thankfully, we ate earlier and had some family around, and we were hanging out and went over to my girl's parents' house and sat there for a couple minutes just talking and thinking about some desserts. And my phone rang, and they were like, "Hey, we got a liver offer for you," and I'm like, "This might be the Thanksgiving to be thankful for.
yeah,
Is this really happening right now?" And they said, "Be at the hospital at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. I don't know, 5 a.m. and in the morning. Don't eat
yeah,
nothing, okay?"
yep.
And they said, "We've been through this before." And my surgeon came in and she said, "I feel really confident about this one." And she said, "I'm going to schedule surgery for 2 o'clock." And I literally was wheeled into the operating room at 1:58
That's
and woke up with a monster scar. I have 54 staples and a brand new liver.
that's so awesome. So like it's so
Yeah.
crazy. Um
Second chance. I mean,
oh
I
yeah.
went to sleep with cancer and woke up without it.
It's amazing, man. And shout out to Allegheny General. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the care here has just been unbelievable. My transplant team has been just by far amazing.
it's awesome. Yeah, she sounded nice for all you. When we were getting ready to do this quick, a staff member had popped in and sounded nice as pie. I didn't see her face, so I got no body language to read, only earshot. And
Yeah.
she sounded, we're talking. It's almost 11 o'clock at night right now, and he's asking for a few more minutes before he goes to bed, and tells her why. I want to film this quick for a
We
podcast.
got to edit it.
Yeah, we want to throw something in, and she was cool with it. She's like, "All right, here's your
Yeah.
medicine. I want to hear this story when you're done." Yeah, dude, that's so awesome. I'm so happy for you. Like, that's I was actually talking to my kid about it, and so real quick again, what are the stats? Like, what are the like you could get called in, and there's a what percent chance that
It's like 20. There's a 1 in 4 chance of you getting transplanted. They
success
always
rate?
say yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
yeah.
transplanted until you're transplanted.
S-
And so far, all of my numbers have been coming down. Everything's been working out. Like it's accepting and everything's going. Just a lot of meds. I had the breathing tube in. I had a tube in my neck. I had the tube down my nostril into my stomach for drainage, and they finally pulled all that today. And I got to have a little Jello, and it was the best Jello I ever. That's the first thing I had since Thanksgiving.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so
A lot of meds is
yeah,
better than a lot of cancer, though.
I'm being thankful for something. When that Jello wiggled on that tray, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
And most people usually don't have very good things to say about, the stigma of hospital food is usually that, get it
yeah,
away. Um,
whatever.
yeah,
I'll
for real,
take.
I bet after not
Yeah.
eating. And is there anything that sticks out, like, for you viewers, just to catch you up, because he does got to get going. He said it must have been through his IV. He doesn't really remember getting knocked out. Just kind of remembers waking up and good to go. But after that, is there anything that sticks out like that was like, holy?
I think the first time I seen this car, like I never thought that I had that many staples in me. They said they cut you like a Mercedes Benz logo,
Yeah,
but this thing's like 20 inches long, and then there's one that comes up my chest like another 8 inches, and then it goes down like 12 inches. So, I mean, there's 54 staples.
damn. We'll put a link in the description to I saw your fiance there. It's fiance, right? You two aren't married, are you? Fiance.
Fiance.
Yeah. On the Rods for Recovery page, we'll link that in the bottom so people can go if they want to take a peek at that.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's been with her. My son came down today. My dad's been in and out. I mean, the support's been awesome.
hell yeah.
So,
Well, you deserve it. You deserve it,
eh,
man. Absolutely deserve it. I'm so proud of you. Thank you again to Allegheny Hospital for a smooth transition for you. No complications. So I started to say, so anyways, I was telling my daughter, she's only 8. I was telling her about there's a chance of like you get there and like we're about to go, we're about to go. Oh, never mind, we're not going now. And even she just instantly, like no hesitation, no like leading in from me. She goes, "That's so tough because it's like you're
mhm.
sad for yourself, but like happy because somebody didn't pass away." And I'm like, "Yeah, for real, for real, for real." And an 8 year
Yeah.
old understood that. That's where I'm going with that. So yeah, it's cool you didn't have to go through that. Um, we don't want no spoiler alerts, but the the
But no,
yeah, yeah, it's freaking
good
awesome.
stuff. But yeah, I agree with you on holidays. It's rough. You know, don't hesitate. All my information, all my board members are on the Rods for Recovery page, and anybody that checks it out, you could reach out to anybody on there, including myself, my fiance, my son, anybody. And Like I say, that phone don't weigh as much as that turkey did on Thursday.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't
and
weigh 1,000 pounds. Got to pick it up.
like, and
That
it's
other person would be happy to hear from you.
right. And the other thing too is like, um, we all have our dreams and our aspirations of what we can do and how we can grow and change and build. But the reality right now is we're all like very tight knit, small community. Like I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing. We have mutual friends that are doing their things. But my point is, where I'm going with this, folks, is we're all gonna see, like, unless you don't see this for a year and a half, and we all get our wishes, and and we're on to helping masses, like we're probably gonna see it within a couple hours and get right back to you, like not just give you a like on the comment.
Right.
We're there to actually talk. And
Without a doubt. Yep.
well, sir,
But yeah,
we will let
here we
you
are.
get back to doing your thing and let that sweetheart lady. She might even
Yeah.
be wrapping up her shift for all we know.
Yeah, they're 7 to 7.
Okay, so she's at least not doing that, but you should probably get some rest. She's
Yeah.
being patient, and I'm pumped. We'll air this
Yeah.
thing, and I'll talk to you.
All right, man. Sounds great.
Take care.
You too.
So wild, right? Like when he hit me up, I was like, no freaking way. Literally on Thanksgiving, and like, call it whatever you want. Call it call it corny, call it cheesy, call it whatever. Um, I get so freaking pumped and so happy, like seeing other people happy, seeing other good things happen for other people. Like, I love that stuff. Um, the only downside to that is, and there's probably like a whole psychological thing with this. I don't care because you can miss me with it. I really don't like negativity. Like, I really don't like it. But I'll gladly have that little like towards negativity and be filled with joy with stories like that. Um, and any other anybody. I want everybody to be successful. I want everybody to get what they need. I want everybody to get what they work for. Obviously things aren't free. We have to work for things. That man put a lot of work and a lot of time into not only himself but his family. We touched on it a little bit earlier in the episode. Like, he essentially just kind of didn't didn't go do what he kind of wanted to do after high school and all that. He stayed local to be around for the grandparents and everything. And as y'all watch the rest of this episode, you will see how selfless he is. And then I will close on that at the end. But yeah, we had to cut in there. So now, back to you. Prove that one wrong.
Yeah.
So this one is, I'll kind of lead it to what the rods for recovery is something that you have great passion for. We'll get into that in a second and tell everyone what it's all about. But you also touched on your kid earlier, who is A1 in my book. Um, uh, there's one particular story that if you don't want to put out to the public, you don't have to. That's fine. I respect that. Um, but you talk about how much he means to you in your recovery, but he also is like, he's your fishing buddy, and I cannot bring up this young man without also stating the fact that he's a junior bass pro fisherman. So he knows a couple 2 3 things about throwing the old line out in the water. But and if you don't, I'll edit this part right out. But do you want to Would you mind sharing with us the one time that your son came and got you,
I know,
and
I know
and
exactly where you were
it,
going.
yeah, 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 and at the store, in the bathroom, or
Yep,
on the way to the bathroom, however that all went.
yep, yeah. So towards the end, before I went and checked in, I went up. Something went down, and there was a lot going on. Um, actually, I'll actually tell you what happened. I've been fighting with the cemetery where my mom's buried because they have a car show at the cemetery during the summer. They have outhouses, they have bands, they have beer tents at a cemetery. And I always found that weird, and it was in nothing of the pamphlets or brochures that were handed to us that it's not just a cemetery, it's some kind of park they call a memorial park or whatever. So they have these events. And I don't know, it left a bad taste in my mouth. And I put a post about it on Facebook, and all the local news channels grabbed it and they're interviewing me. So the one day I was doing an interview and I was pretty much half in a bag. I got phone calls
Let them know how
immediately.
you really feel about things.
Yeah. But I got phone calls immediately from friends saying, "Don't even watch it. You look like crap." So I decided to run, and I went up to camp. No one else was around. I went on about a 3 day bender, if not longer. And finally, my son comes up. He called all the local bars where he knew that I hang out, and told them not to serve me. Um, long story short, he got in a driveway, and I was getting out of my truck. I just rode up the road to where I got phone service, not to talk to anybody, just to read my text messages. And he basically followed me back down. And whenever I backed in the driveway, this truck pulls in, and I'm wondering who it was. And he got out, instantly opened the back door to my truck, and grabbed all the bottles and just started dumping them all out. And he was like, "Go inside and get your shit. You're going home," just like
He's
that. And
pissed.
yeah,
He's pissed right now.
and so he finished dumping everything out and threw me in a truck, threw my stuff in, locked the door. And first town we hit, he said he had to get gas. I said, "Do you trust me enough to go to the bathroom?" He was like, "Do what you got to do." So I went in, not thinking that big convenience store had all them windows, and I bought a little bottle of something, and I walked back towards the bathroom to drink it, and he come out of nowhere and hit me like TJ Watt and grabbed it, said, "I can't take you anywhere, you asshole."
Yeah. No, when you told me that again, people guess you know we've talked enough. I am not laughing at
Mhm.
I'm not laughing at the severity of the issue. What I'm laugh one thing is that's and I've made it very clear to everybody when they come on the show. In fact, when I draw their pre-production standards, I call them. I put in there hip and knowledgeable. I want to bring some humor to it.
Right.
You know, we if we can't laugh about stuff sometimes, you know, so, some they as proverbial as is, you know, laughter can be the best medicine sometimes. And
It's got to be. Right.
you know, it is just because, like you said, it's like it's ingenious some of the stuff that the creative ways, and then also some of the just foolish nonsense that we like are just so out of touch that like we just
Yeah.
think it's normal and it's so delusional.
And
It's
it,
not even funny that. Um,
it takes you right back to the stigma. If you can't laugh about some of the stuff you did to get to the point that you're at,
yeah,
if someone's sitting there saying, "How can you do that?" It's a stigma thing.
yep.
I got the nonprofit going. We set up it. I'll set up at a craft show. We did an apple cider festival, and I was the only one there that represented addiction recovery. And the stigma was all over the place. We set up a little fishing pond out of a baby pool for kids to play with in case adults want to talk to us, which happens often. And I've seen people take their 4 or 5 year old kid that was like crying to go fish in a pond, saying, "You don't need to be fishing over there."
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's messed up. It's
yeah, I mean, I give out Narcan free to anybody that wants to have it on hand. And I had a person come looking at the table, and um, my fiance said that Narcan. She was like, "If you want, it's free. If you want to put it in your medicine cabinet or something." And she just looked at her and she said, "Oh, I would never need that at my house." I said, "Yeah," and she probably walked 500 feet away and told her nephew to run down and get one.
yeah. Hopefully,
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 yeah,
because
yeah.
that's the sad reality that where we're at. I talk about it. I don't know if I had to live '04 to 14, um, that decade like now. I don't know if I'd make it through. We didn't have to carry around test kits. We didn't have to worry about fentanyl. We didn't have to worry about
Right.
none of that stuff, and we definitely didn't have to worry about the substance we were buying not being the substance we were buying. Like that whole thing is just a mess. And we do we here at the Stigma Lounge, we encourage, we want, we target. I'm actually looking for guests right now to come on who have loved ones suffering or did have a loved one suffering, because I want to get to the ones who may they like they just want the knowledge, on the opposite side of the fence that lady was on, the ones that want to be prepared because they do have a young child growing up in this modern day, because the more we can educate them to spot things earlier, to be prepared, it's just the more harm reduction and all that we can accomplish. um, it's just the way it is, and yeah, and then for the humor, I'm gonna laugh about everything. I find myself laughing at most of the people and their some of their stigmas, because it's like I touched on it in the breaking down what this all was video. I still have the note right here, and it talks about the criminalness, the criminal stigma, and it reads as the criminal stigma. Many people view addiction as a criminal issue rather than a health issue. In fact, most people with addiction are not involved in criminal activity, and only a small percentage commit crimes due to their substance use. Well, those naive people who think they're smarter than everyone else, they're going to instantly rebut that with, well, how do they get their substances without committing a crime? And it's like, well, listen here, you fucking bozo. Like a lot of it's alcohol. Like a lot of the substance is alcohol, and there's zero crime there. It's just abuse. So, they're just, it's just, if you don't get it and you only see it that one weird way, the stigmas of it like, we got to help get that change in this country, because I do believe that it will have a positive effect. Um, I believe that in my heart and soul. One more time before we let these people get out of here, or one more thing before we let these people get out of here, and tell them about what you got going on with Rods for Recovery. We have to tell them about the event you were invited to speak
I was
at.
just thinking about that too.
Yeah, we got to tell them. You can
So,
make it quick
yeah.
if you want. It doesn't matter, but this is a good one, folks.
Um, yeah. So a couple months ago, a girl reached out to me to speak at a recovery event, and it was stronger than addiction, and all proceeds went to addiction recovery, and just stuff like that. They had 50-50, and we could go with gambling's an addiction, and they got the 50-50 going. But I mean, all in all, they raised $7,000, so I give them a lot of credit. It was great, but it was the first time for me to walk into something that I did not expect. Now, whenever she asked me to speak, she did create a Facebook page for it and put a big description on it, but it was called Stronger Than Addiction, so I didn't really pay much attention to the whole description of the event other than I'm going to go here and speak and I'm going to have a booth set up for Rods for Recovery and give information out about what we do. So I walked in to set up and it was an open bar. And as the night went on, everybody everybody was pretty much wasted,
Yeah, just getting after it.
and it's, I don't even know if people were there were in recovery, or just bought the ticket for the open bar because I've done that.
Yep.
But it's different whenever somebody comes up to support you and they're like, "Love you, man. Love what you're doing." It's a
Yeah.
whole different.
Yeah. No, that's why I wanted you to tell him about that. And actually, when you just said it, it got my mind thinking. Um, I wonder. You said she's got a Facebook page and stuff. I might
Yeah,
look into that because I wonder if that's part of their play on it with stronger than addiction is like um we can come we can come here, we'll raise a lot of money for you and have a good time doing it. You if that is then you hope that nothing tragic ever happens like on the way home or something. But yeah, I don't
but at
know
the
cuz
same time, the general public does not associate alcohol with substance abuse because it's legal.
I know it's crazy and it's one of the two
Yeah,
that can kill you. Like they all
yeah.
can kill you, but the withdrawal symptoms can kill you.
The withdrawal, alcohol withdrawal is horrible. You're
Which
talking seizures. You're talking you. If you don't do it medically in a hospital setting, you could die.
yeah. So went through all that. Clearly, lots to go through. Like I led with, been through hell and back, in my opinion. Um, Still maintaining positive mindset. Still always looking for change. Actually, got me hooked up with a recovery center that I get. Is it a college credit I'm getting, or is it like an hour credit for like peer support stuff?
It's a continued education credit, which could be used towards college.
I thought so, but I wasn't positive on that. But uh, three of them now should have had four. Slept. We both missed the same one, but it's perfect. It's free. You got me hooked up on it. I'm actually thinking about using that blank spot right there to frame them. I'm just one person that you have helped grow as a human being. You're speaking all over the place, doing all that, but that's not even where your heart really lies. When it comes into like what you really want to give back to people in recovery, because you like to tie the hobby into the recovery and kind of bring it all together. So I'm going to switch over to, and then it's going to obviously be just you on the page. My mic will be live, but we'll show them all what Rods for Recovery is all about, what it could ultimately bring to their life if they hit you up. And then we will talk about maybe giving something away after that. So let's check this out.
All right, so go ahead.
All right. So what I'll do for you here is I will just read off about. Hi, my name is Bill Petrosky, founder and president of Rods for Recovery. Rods for Recovery invites you to be part of something special. As a 501c3 nonprofit, we are using the restorative power of fishing to help individuals overcome addiction. By providing fishing gear, support, and more, together we can create a ripple effect of positivity and transformation. Let's make a difference, one cast at a time. Please contact me directly for any information or donation. Hashtag we do recover. And that's you. That's all you. That's your nonprofit. That's what you're doing. You went out with who are these gentlemen in the pictures here?
So just about everybody in the pictures dealt with addiction, whether it was them or a loved one. That's my complete board of directors. Everyone has been involved in addiction, whether it be a loved one or themselves. Um, Most of the pictures along the bar, well, the ones with guys and waiters were a recent fishing trip. Um, the gentleman holding the fish on the far left um, had some uh, addiction issues with his daughter. She's no longer with us. The picture to the right of him is my son Jordan. That's on his kayak with a large northern pike. And that's him and the little one underneath there with a big salmon from a couple weeks ago when we went to New York. Um, there's a spinner there. We make spinners that have recovery on them or sober or whatever you want. There's some pictures of the layout of the boat. Jordan has a new bass boat. He does compete in all of the local tournaments here. Hopefully, he branches out to more, but he's holding out a full time job and doing all he can as far as fishing after working on the weekends. And the picture of me with like quartering away from you there with the city of Pittsburgh in the background. That was during a Pittsburgh Post Gazette interview. I had them on the boat so that they could do the interview on a boat and get some pictures. And the interview was all about um, casting a light on recovery, they called it.
That's what that is
And
right there. Is Pittsburgh behind you?
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, that's just off of Point State Park. That cement right there is um, the side of the point, the Monongahela side.
I've never been down there. I'll have to get down there and check it out though, because
Yeah, so where I'm at on the boat is the Monongahela River. The other side of the point is the Allegheny River, and at the point they form the Ohio together.
gotcha.
Um, but yeah, so Rods for Recovery. My big thing was I was inpatient during the summer when I should have been pretty much fishing. um, when I did get um, back on the transplant list, my liver doctor told me that I could no longer work in wastewater because I was pre-treatment. I was down in the manholes and in the dirty stuff where it wasn't treated at the plant yet. And she did not want me around the infection and being on the transplant list at the same time. So I was forced into retirement after 23 years. That's my son right there. Um, so my biggest fear was boredom. And I was thinking about starting to make rods for people in recovery. I build my own fishing rods and let people pick out their color of thread for the eyelets and um, what color rod they want, what manufacturer rod they want. I just get the blank. There's nothing on it. Kind of build it to their spec.
They're catching fish
And
like this,
I'm sorry.
and they're catching fish like this. This is the
Yeah,
fish
they're
this
catching
guy's
fish.
life,
Yeah, we
right?
tie our own flies, and that's just some more of the stuff that we offer. But I went further than just making a custom rod with people for people or saying, hey, bring your favorite fishing rod in and I'll put your sober date on it. I still do that, no problem. But I wanted it to be something more. So I came up with Rods for Recovery. Um, I want to bring people back together. When you leave inpatient, you leave with phone numbers from everybody that was in there, or you get in a group chat with everybody and you might meet up for coffee or go to meetings together. But in as time goes on, people fall off of that. They go their separate ways. Um, 8 people in a group chat goes down to 5 people, goes down to 3 people.
Yes.
Um, bringing people together with rods for recovery. They don't have to know how to fish. Um, we will teach you how to fish if needed. We will supply you with gear if needed. If you don't want us to go fishing with you, we could offer gear on a sign out, sign in basis. Um, if you look to the person, if you look at the person to the right of the where the boat is with the lily pads holding a big brown trout, um, that's Max. Yeah, right there. He is a fly tying instructor and a fly fishing instructor, and he works for Orvis. So we offer fly tying classes. You could um, tie your own flies and use them the next day. Max could take you out and put you onto some big trout or some steelhead. Um, it's endless.
Yeah.
I just want this to grow. I've had people reach out to me from Georgia. I've had people reach out to me from Alabama. Um, the picture on the far right is some of the equipment my son has on a boat. Um, it's all state of the art. There's a GPS hub up front. His trolling motor is just the Cadillac of all trolling motors. The screen in the middle, that's a 12-inch screen. There's a 10-inch right next to it. There's another 10-inch at the cockpit.
Oh, those are depth
Um,
finders and depth and fish finders, right?
they're fish finders, depth finders. They're GPS. We could set the boat to go on a path of where we want to fish for as long as we want that path to go, and then whenever we want to, after we run it ourselves and download it, we could just not touch a thing and the boat will go that speed and that direction the whole time.
That's awesome. So like we got into some fish on this shelf right here.
Yeah,
Um set the marks and check it out next year, so to speak, and see if they came back to,
exactly. Yeah, my
stuff like
son
that.
throws pins all over that. He knows where every stump is
Yeah.
in certain lakes. But as soon as you get on the lake and turn that on, it'll bring up the name of the lake and the layout, and he could. They're all touch screen. You could zoom in, zoom out with your fingers. Um,
That's
if he
awesome.
sees something on the bottom, he'll stop, and he has different little icons that signal different things. And whenever you go back there the next year or the next week, he could bring one of them pins up and say, "I want to go fish that stump," and it'll take him right to it.
Now, obviously, if somebody was local, they could hit you guys up and do all this stuff you're talking about, but you don't have to be local because you will mail stuff, right? You'll mail in the U.S. You'll make rods,
I know.
ship.
I travel. I want to. My one big goal is to collaborate with people in other states and have us branch
Mm-hmm.
so that I could have people in other states that are involved in recovery that want to help me do this, that have the knowledge of fishing. I will gladly travel anywhere to help get that started. The biggest thing that I got going on right now is we're in the process of finding a home. We're applying for grants. We're looking for donations. We're trying to get a building we could house our boat in. We could have meetings in. We could have a community room. We could host dinners. We could have fly tying classes. I could do all this at a church, um,
Yeah,
or a banquet hall somewhere that'll let me use it as far as fly tying goes. But I don't want to drag equipment back and forth.
I hear
I
you.
don't. I don't want people to come to my house to grab
Yeah,
stuff that they need for fishing. So I want to have a hub.
yeah.
We can meet here. We're like December 12th. I think we're in a parade. We got invited to. We're gonna have the boat. We're gonna have. I have a big uh cargo trailer, a brand new one that was donated. It's a 2025 6x12 trailer, and it has all the rods for recovery logos all over it. And that's going to be in the parade. And we're going to have the Grinch and a fishing vest and a fishing rod running around throwing candy at kids, and I'm going to hand out Narcan.
Hell yeah.
So, but
Hell yeah.
to have a permanent home, to house all this stuff, to have access to have my board be able to go somewhere and punch a 5-digit number in on a door and open it up and have their whatever they need, at hand.
Yes.
That's my goal. That's my dream
Yep.
right now.
Absolutely, man. Um, I had somebody actually mention to me about, with the peer support, with the mentor stuff, with the not so much the sober living house, but it's like kind of like an outpatient. They mentioned that one of the um, they used to have a daycare and stuff up there at one of the churches, and same deal as it's like, yeah, it's a great idea. I appreciate the idea, but would prefer to generate funds and make home base, like so to speak, like you're talking about.
Hmm.
I hear you there.
Yeah, tomorrow I got a radio interview scheduled for Giving Tuesday, or I think it's called. So it's like it's targeted at nonprofits. It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving every year. They call it Giving Day.
Oh yeah, I forgot
So
we got all that coming up. Then Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
yeah,
Yeah, so ladies, if you're listening, you get your husbands, boyfriends, dads, brothers, uncles. There's all sorts of stuff. You have merch or just
we do
the
have merch. We just launched a site with a t-shirt company. I got hoodies, I got long sleeve t-shirts, I got t-shirts. I'm gonna probably throw tank tops on. Um, we don't have a website yet, but all the links for the t-shirt store are on our Facebook page. It's Rods for Recovery, the number four Rods, the number four Recovery. Or you could reach out to me via email. My email address is hopedealer613 @gmail.com.
and then the last thing I wanted to do. Let me do this quick first. Get that out of the way. Y'all are listening to me think out loud. Then, um, what did you say the Facebook was?
Rods, the number four Recovery. Rods for Recovery. Just like it shows on the screen with the number four. Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
We'll just drop this up here for them. Yeah, we're gonna cover up some stuff, but at least they see it at the end.
It's actually Rods, but
Ooh,
there's an S on the end of Rod.
good pick up there.
There you go.
Um, so you can get a hold of them there, find it all there. And one thing that we are going to do here at the Stigma Lounge for all of Bill's time and let's got us both together. Okay, that works. All Bill's time that he has taken to work with us, communicate. It's been a long process. One thing with recovery, you can get to a point of being clean and being sober. And I've been away from opiates for 10 years now, but it doesn't change the ebbs and flows of some of the core things that ultimately resulted in substance abuse. Now, whether that just kind of be, um, whether it's trauma stuff, PTSD more so for me. So, and then that leads to just kind of like mood swing stuff, not like agitation and like hot cold, but just or get a little bit lackadaisical sometimes, overwhelmed, the anxieties, things like that. So it's there. It's not it's not cut and dry. So it was a journey of multiple months to get us to this point, and I can't thank him enough. I did not pay this gentleman to come on to the show. He is doing this all out of the kindness of his heart. And what I want to do is I want to give away 2 of his custom rods. We were talking earlier, trout bass rods are kind of for a broad idea of the United States. We'll figure out the logistics of it once we get the winners. But all you have to do to enter this one is let's do
Hmm.
so to show our appreciation, we want to give away 2 rods, trout or bass rod. Once the winners are generated, they can have their pick. We'll have the options there. We'll get them done. You will tell Mr. Petrosky what you would like your rod to have on it. They're custom, as he said. But all you got to do to qualify, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Addiction is a scam, and comment. Once we hit 100 comments, all those comments will be, each individual will be entered into the drawing. We'll randomize it, and we will get ourselves 2 winners.
Awesome.
Bill, I can't thank you enough. The work you're doing out there is awesome. The things you've taught me are wonderful. A lot of good information, like a lot of good information. I'm looking forward actually to chopping some of this up with you afterwards and making some shorts out of it. Even we're gonna put the whole episode up when that on that release date. But there's a lot of good golden nuggets in this entire conversation. So with that being said, again, I tell you every time, I can't do any of this without you, just like I can't do it without the viewers. I can have all the ideas in the world, but without people like yourself willing to come on and share their vulnerabilities, put their trust in me, tell me things that literally they could be HIPAA could literally protect them from having to tell anyone. I applaud that. I salute that. It's awesome. You're the best. And one last
I
time,
appreciate what you do.
thank you for coming on. It's an honor, man. Keep fighting that good fight, so they say. And
Right?
until next time, take care, sir.
You as well.
So that is William Petrosky, and he is a great, great, great man. Um, Sometimes I don't know if he gives himself enough credit on how great of an individual he is and the things that he does and the selflessness that he shows. And he just go, go, go sometimes. And even his family has to get after him and tell him, hey, maybe after this one we take a break and just chill a little bit. But he's very, very productive, and he's full of love, as you could see in that almost little over an hour and a half interview. There's just so much love in that man. Um, as he said, there's things that he wished that could have gone a little differently, but you never know what the contrary is. The saying the grass isn't always greener on the other side wasn't created because someone was just bored one day. Like there's meaning behind that. And there's deep meaning behind it for some people's lives. So I believe that we all have a purpose. I truly believe that in my heart, that we are all here for some reason or another, whether it's a chain effect or whether it's a direct reason. none of us will ever know. But if we all come together and we all help one another and we stop to hate and we start to understand, maybe, just maybe, we can have our America back again. And I'm not talking on a sense of political nonsense. I'm talking about just no divide, the love, the appreciation, the it takes a village mentality. I'm fortunate enough to have stumbled across a town that still lives that way, and I'm able to raise my child here. But it's not like that everywhere else, and I wish it was, because so many people see so many negative things, especially when they turn on the television or switch on to their social media. And the truth is, there is bad stuff that goes on, but there's just as many, if not more, good things. We need to start shining the light on those good things. And the moment that we do that and we shift that paradigm to taking that approach on life, it will instantly get better. I can promise you that. I appreciate each and every single one of you for taking the time, especially if you've stayed to the very end. Thank you so much. As I told William, and as I tell you all the time, I can't do it without you. Lastly, you know the deal. If nobody's told you this yet today, I love you. And I promise I'm not the only one. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this boy is out of here.